What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So today in this daily news update, I want to give you some updates regarding just some things regarding vaccines, infrastructure, what Nancy Pelosi plans on doing this week, what House Democrats are saying, what Senate or actually House aides are telling us, and I got some news regarding unemployment. So I want to break down exactly what's going on, but first, let's talk about stimulus checks. Here's what we know. Okay? And if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Also, I just want to thank you guys for always hitting that like button. It really does help out the channel. First, let's talk about stimulus checks. Here's what we know. Regarding the fourth stimulus check, Google is now saying the search term fourth stimulus check is one of the most searched terms currently. And according to experts, the reason why this is, according to them, they believe that it is now more than ever that the American people need a fourth stimulus check to get through this pandemic, to survive and put food on the table. But the problem is there is still no fourth stimulus check bill that is being put in front of Congress. At this time, I have called my senator, I have called my representatives. It doesn't do me any good, they never answer, but I have called. One of the things that you need to do, and this is something that I've said over the past few months as well, call your representatives. Call them. Send an email. Whatever you have to do. All you gotta do is get in front of them. Let your voice be heard. Okay? Let them know if you need a fourth stimulus. Let them know. Maybe you don't, but you know other people in your state do. Let them know. Because the more we push for whatever piece of legislation we are wanting, the more the American people push, the higher the chance of it getting put into the next infrastructure bill. So that's my news regarding the fourth stimulus check. Just go out there and push for it. If that's what you want, you think that's what we need, push for it. I've called, I've emailed, and you should too. Now, let's talk about what multiple House Democrats and Nancy Pelosi believe is going to happen. Many House Democrats at this time, they have all stated that a vote will not happen tomorrow regarding that $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. They say it's not going to happen tomorrow because it doesn't have the votes to pass. It has votes, just not to pass. This means that the vote on the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, it will not happen tomorrow, but according to multiple sources, they say it will take place this week, guaranteed. Whether it has the votes or not, according to them, the vote will take place this week. That's good news. Now, according to a few House aides, they say that their representatives are still working hard to get that $3.5 trillion bill finalized. That's the goal, because many Democrats know if the $1.2 trillion bill is passed first, it will be up to President Biden. He will be pressured. He will sign the bill before the $3.5 trillion bill is even finalized, before it gets voted on, before it gets passed. And if that happens, it puts all the leverage, all the power is now in Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema's hands. And some say that is not who they want running these infrastructure talks and negotiations. Now, they say this bill, okay, if this can be finalized this week, okay, the $3.5 trillion bill, then that will be the bill that sees the first vote. The $3.5 trillion bill. That will be voted on. Then the House will vote on the $1.2 trillion bill. And then the $3.5 trillion bill will be headed over to the Senate. Well, here's where things start to get very tricky. And again, Nancy Pelosi has a lot to say, and she had a lot to say today. Even though the goal is to get that $1.2 trillion bill passed, according to multiple experts, they are saying the main priority for lawmakers at this time is to just keep the government funded. And so progressives have that in their back pocket. Progressives can be like, you know what? I know it's really important to vote on this $1.2 trillion bill, but let's just go and make sure the government's funded. Let's do that first. And the goal behind that isn't to keep the government funded. Yeah, that's a priority, but that's not the goal. The goal is to just pretty much delay the $1.2 trillion bill vote so that the $3.5 trillion bill can actually be finalized, and that can come up for a vote as well. So the goal is just to delay, not to essentially hey, we need to make sure the government's funded. Yeah, that's important. But the goal is just simply delay, a delay tactic. That's all it is. And that's what many experts are telling us. So even though the House has already passed the infrastructure bill, okay, the $3.5 trillion resolution, right? They still have to pass the $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation. And even though the Senate has already passed, or the House has already passed the government funding bill, the Senate has not. The Senate has not. And so that's going to be up for discussion this week. But the problem is, and the Senate knows this, they will not be able to pass this bill because it does not have 60 votes. It will not have 60 votes. Not for a government funding bill attached to a suspension of the debt ceiling, the debt limit. That's not going to happen. There will be no Republican that goes on record to support that. So that's an issue. So right now, the key is to negotiate the government funding bill and then see if the debt ceiling can be raised in some fashion, in some form. According to multiple reports just this weekend, we are hearing that multiple Republicans would consider a small increase to the debt ceiling as long as that $3.5 trillion stimulus package is cut down substantially. That's what they're saying. And when Nancy Pelosi was asked, and this is where things get very interesting, because this is what I've been saying for the past few weeks, is that Nancy Pelosi was asked, could there be a chance for a smaller bill? This is what Nancy Pelosi had to say. And I quote, "Everybody overwhelmingly, and I think even those who want a smaller number, support the vision of the president. Adding up what our priorities are should take us to a number where we find common ground." I've been saying this for probably the past month, if not a little bit longer, that the only way, according to experts, I'm not, again, just to point this out, I'm no expert. I'm just a guy on YouTube that does hours and hours of research every single day. Okay? I'm no expert. I'm just a regular guy that does a lot of research to provide these updates for you. Again, thank you for always hitting that like button. It really does help out the channel. And I do this because you guys keep doing that. So here's what we are hearing at this point. The goal is to find common ground. In the previous packages, in the stimulus package, in the American Rescue Plan, the common ground was stimulus check of $1,400, which Democrats promised. They actually promised $2,000, but $1,400 plus $600 equals $2,000, right? We understand the math. That was one. They wanted to provide rental assistance was another. Nutrition assistance was another. The extension of unemployment benefits was another one as well. Now there are other things, and then obviously the $350 billion for state and local governments. That was huge. But the key here was they found common ground, and then they built the bill around that. That's exactly what Nancy Pelosi is saying, is if we add up all our priorities, it should take us to a number where we find common ground. And according to experts, that number is going to hover right about $2 to $2.5 trillion. So even though I said it's going to be right about $2.8 trillion, according to experts, that number keeps on dropping. So we will see. According to the Wall Street Journal, what they are saying is when Kyrsten Sinema, or actually what Kyrsten Sinema is willing to accept, this is going to tell lawmakers how much that $3.5 trillion bill is able to be. Because if Kyrsten Sinema doesn't support it, Joe Manchin says he would support. Now he wants a $1.5 trillion bill now, or let's just wait, do a strategic pause until 2022, and we can see what we actually need then. And if it's $3.5 trillion, then so be it. He would vote for that. If it's $4 or $5 trillion, he would vote for that according to experts. But all indications point to it should be much smaller. So that's the reason why Senator Joe Manchin is opposed to this $3.5 trillion bill right now. But according to multiple reports, Kyrsten Sinema has had more than 24 meetings with other lawmakers. 6 of those have been with President Biden. 3 have been with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. And as of right now, it's really not about Senator Joe Manchin, other than the fact that he wants to just wait on passing this bill. It's all about Senator Kyrsten Sinema. So that's where things are starting to get very interesting. We will see what happens this week as far as what she wants. But last week, President Biden said he just wanted pretty much the moderates to come back with a number that they feel this bill should be at. They still haven't done that, but once they do, and we hear reports on that, I will tell you what that number is. Now, regarding unemployment and vaccines, you may have heard this, but New York State has stated that they will not extend the unemployment benefits to most unvaccinated healthcare workers who are fired over the vaccine mandate. And this is actually causing many states to actually consider doing this exact same thing. This would be an additional push to get people to go and get the vaccine. Whether this is right or wrong, this is what they are looking at doing at this time. And on top of that, some states are even considering this for private employees as well, since they are saying this is an active vaccine mandate. In other news, right now what we're hearing is other health experts are actually warning the American people of one thing that's been going around social media. According to social media, gargling iodine is a great way to combat COVID and make sure you do not get it. Here's the problem. According to health experts, they're warning the American people that gargling iodine is not a way to avoid contracting COVID. Doctors say that there are several severe risks of doing this, and that they say there's no actual data that suggests gargling iodine will even help. So, according to health experts, this is not something you need to do. Do not take health advice from social media. Actually get health advice from a licensed professional. Consult your physician. That's what we're hearing at this time. So if you have any questions, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But that's what we know right now. That is your daily news. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.